Welcome down the rabbit hole, friends. The next couple of chapters are all about the many freebies Kate solicited. Through all of her journal entries, emails, everything that Hoffman found in her trash, he found lots of examples of Kate reaching out to companies asking for something for free.
Also, you might also want to realize that I'm actually going to. So, for this video, I'm going to be here sometimes. And did you know that actually? So, there you go.
Awesome. True. In Kate's reality, the one that she wants to portray to all of us, she never solicited any of the things that came free to her. She has said many times, like, people approached me and I graciously accepted it. Like, what am I supposed to do? Hoffman writes, the reality, however, is that while helpers watched the Goslin children, Kate spent many hours a day writing letters and making phone calls and sending emails to every business under the sun, seeking freebies and handouts, whether she needed them or not. This is quite frustrating, right? We know so many moms out there, like myself included, who have been in situations in our life where like we really needed help. We could have used something for free. Obviously, it's much harder when you have 8 kids, but these are the choices that they made. And once they had made a ton of money, like, couldn't the buck stop there, right? Literally, couldn't they stop asking for things at that point and start spending their own money on it like the rest of us? Hoffman writes, Kate wrote this letter just a few months after giving birth to the sextuplets. She was already plotting, guys. Notice how enthused, enthused she is to begin marketing her new babies, or the 6, as she's decided to call them. Hello everyone at Gymboree. My name is Kate Goslin. I recently gave birth to sextuplets. We also have twin 4-year-old girls! ! Since my twins were born, I've been an avid and eager shopper at our local Gymboree store, number 467. I was famous for calling all the local Gymborees if 2 of the things were not available. The employees at our local store are awesome, always willing to help and find me what I want. Now I want a little bit more. Since I found out I was pregnant with the 6, quote unquote, as I get a chance, I go to Gymboree. The last time I was there, Kelly wrote down the customer service number and urged me to call, explaining that she feels, the local person at this Gymboree store feels, that Gymboree should hear my story and should donate to our 8 children. Wow, Kelly is like really supportive for just like someone who works at Gymboree. I held the number for a while and finally called. Kelly was very insistent. I'm sure like the 18-year-old girl who works at the front counter of the Gymboree store is like, oh my God, I have a great idea. We should give you free stuff, Kate Goslin. That would be amazing. She knows my passion for Gymboree and understands that with 8 children, times are tough. If you have a desire to help, please contact me at XXXX. They X out the phone number. I wish we had it so I could call her. In addition, if there is a way my children could be a help in marketing your clothing lines, we're all for it. Gymboree's wholesome and hearty clothing is definitely worth our time. Thank you for your style and kindness in my unique situation. Please feel free to visit our website, www.6goslins.com. Sincerely, Kate Goslin. So there's a lot of letters like this, and we're going to talk more about the freebies now. First, Hoffman wants us to take a look at this interview that Kate did with Meredith Vieira on the Today Show on October 5th, 2009. Basically, Kate is talking all about she has no money to feed her kid. Meredith is talking about how the family as a whole may have had major bucks from their hit TLC show, but Kate Goslin is currently living hand to mouth. Reports that Jon Goslin removed $230,000 from the family's joint bank account and leaving her with only $1,000 are true. Kate tells Meredith Vieira on the Today Show this morning. I have a stack of bills in my purse I can't drop in the mail, she says, choking up. The last thing I wanted was to go on this show and end up not being able to pay our bills. That is really hard. Like, you've sold your family out and now a lot of the money is gone. This was like an interesting situation. I remember this being all over the news. Yes. Jon and Kate were in the process of separating, and Kate made a claim that Jon tried to take all of her money, all of the kids' money, because it's really for their 8 miracles. Hoffman writes, given all the drama, the star of Jon and Kate plus 8 admits, every morning, I don't know what I'm going to do to wake up to Jon has gone so far off the trail. Kate admits for the first time that she feared Jon might do something like this and removed $100,000 from the account earlier in the divorce process. So this was kind of like tit for tat. My understanding was Jon then came out and said, I removed this money because Kate had been removing money prior, and I was concerned that I would get left with nothing and she has the house. At some point, I removed it to keep it safe on the suggestion of my lawyer, but needed to put it back according to the arbitrator, and I did that. She claims she only did this because Jon had already removed funds from the account. So they're going back and forth. That's essentially what's happened. I had taken $100,000 and I put it aside safely so I could buy my kids food. $100,000 worth of food if this occurred. I was afraid. He was literally buying erratic purchases, randomly purchasing things. The last thing I wanted to do The last thing I wanted was to do this show and end up not being able to pay my bills. When Kate came forward about it, the pair split the change 50-50, and she used it to pay her bills. So they took the $230 and they split it. Hoffman writes, as for Jon's claims that the 8 kids no longer wish to participate in the reality show, Kate claims that the children were wailing and sobbing not to be seeing the crew since last week's filming halted. The Octomom feels that the show needs to go on, and not just because the income helps her family stay afloat. It's something that the kids and I are still enjoying. Okay, I just want to say that of course the kids might be sad about people who have been in their lives for a long time not being around anymore. The film crew was probably nicer to the kids than their mom ever was. And so they probably will miss them. It probably is hard to say goodbye. It's hard for any of us to say goodbye, at the end of camp or the end of a vacation. It is difficult. But that doesn't mean that they really want to keep filming. It means the world to them. And we've heard from a lot of people that the kids were I'm sick of the cameras always being here. Okay? There probably is a balance that could have been struck. I don't think we should never have reality TV or we should never have family shows. There probably is a balance that people can make. It benefits a lot of us to see families being honest on TV, to learn from each other. I think reality TV could be a more positive situation, right? But to be filming constantly, to have every single vacation you ever go on be because the film crew is paying for it, so they're always going to be there, you have to do everything with them and they control everything about your lives, that's what made it so detrimental to these kids. And we've talked about that in all the prior episodes. Kate says, I don't feel like it's time to end it. If we were all enjoying it, I just feel like Kate plus 8 going on, the 9 of us who want to continue it, we should be able to do it. Jon, however, does have the power to end the show for good. Kate says, he can do it because TLC has always said if one of us didn't want it to happen anymore, then obviously they're not going to stand in the way. Jon is a parent. He does have the right to say that, but I wish he would think harder about it because it has ended our income and our paychecks and all of our opportunities. She is terrified. I remember this interview. I thought she was really scared. And I have to say that from my point of view, in my situation, I could understand. I wasn't a multimillionaire. Kate had millions of dollars. She could have liquidated the house, and they probably could have been okay. But I would understand having a lot of kids, coming to rely on this entertainment source of income and being oh my God, if this runs out, we could really lose so much. If this runs out, we could really lose so much. Hoffman writes, despite both parents' claims for desires of peace, Kate doesn't see it as imminent, nor the 3-month delay in the divorce proceedings. Kate says, I do not believe there will be any 90-day stalling of this process, she tells Vieira. Peace is really far away. And I just have to say it again. I never wanted to be sitting here and discussing details. I think in the end, actions speak louder than words. I know that my actions are solely for the kids, to better the kids. I have a lot of peace about this because I know in the end my actions are appropriate, well thought out, and with the kids in mind. She is scared, okay? I would love to hear how you feel about this down in the comments because I do have a sense of she's getting left with 8 kids. I think that Jon did care about the kids, did care about Kate. I do think he was having a midlife crisis. He was participating in activities that would have scared me as a wife. Even if I was done with him, okay, we can get divorced. I want to see my husband, my ex-husband, my partner in life still taking a very active role in my kids' existence. And if he's not doing that and he's off doing things that don't benefit our kids, yeah, that's going to be, I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be worried. I'm going to be doing everything I can to gather all my resources because I am going to feel like I need to shelter these children it's like, this is just my feeling. Not every relationship is like that. It can be reversed roles, male and female. But for me, I would feel I'm the one who's going to be here for these kids no matter what. And it's up to me to protect them. So I can kind of see how Kate may have been like having a mental breakdown. Like, I am so scared of what's coming. And I've got to do, I don't care. I've said this before, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, OnlyFans, get on Craigslist, whatever I need to do to protect my kids to make money. Here's the difference in all of it. Once again, Kate had millions of dollars. She was overspending on things like plastic surgery, her clothing, her hair, her bodyguards. Like, there were a lot of things that she could have downsized. That's a fact, right? And when we see her upset and crying, and maybe we can relate, we can also say, but you probably were going to be okay regardless, right? You wanted to continue this insane lifestyle that no one else experiences. And you were a little bit too greedy. So you could have taken a step back, liquidated a lot of things, and moved forward from there. And that's kind of what Hoffman says in the next couple of paragraphs. He says, like, it's weird that Kate would be on TV whining about $200,000 when in 2008, the tax return that Kate had showed that she had an adjusted gross income of $1,954,000 for the year. That's a lot of money. So maybe like a lot of cash had gone into like moving into the house, or I don't know, it was somewhere else. We do know that she created trust funds for the kids, so some of the money was getting probably set up and put into some of the trust funds. But Hoffman's arguing like $200,000 is not that much money for Kate. Who knows why it was such a bone of contention between them. Hoffman goes on to say it's also not true that Kate had only removed like $100,000, okay? He actually takes a look at some of the court records. Okay, so the court record reads, wife failed to provide a written explanation for the disposition of withdrawals on the spreadsheet of accounts created by husband's counsel within 20 days of the date of the award. Now this is important, these withdrawals totaled over $1 million between February 2008 and June 2009 from their joint accounts. So she's, it's a total lie or manipulation to say, I just withdrew like $100,000 to keep my kids safe. She was setting herself up to get an awful lot of money. Hoffman goes on to show us that Kate has an awful lot of money invested. This was at this point in time when he found all of her records, so back in the day around 2012. There were a lot of investments, okay? So, she made $2 million that year, but she put a lot of money into investments and they were being held in a way where like she couldn't necessarily just access them right away, but she has a ton of money. The next section is about the vow renewal that Kate and Jon participated in Hawaii. If you guys aren't aware, at the very end of Jon and Kate Plus 8, they took this amazing vacation to Hawaii with all of their kids and did a vow renewal there. They obviously had the trip and a lot of activities paid for by TLC. And Hoffman goes on to talk about how allegedly, Kate claimed that they had actually been living apart and not spending time with each other for quite a while, almost 2 years when they filed the divorce papers. So that would have certainly overlapped with the Hawaii trip. We've heard from Jon before that he went through with the vow renewal, but he was flat out like, we were already in a place where we weren't together and I realized things were not going to work. Hoffman argues that Jon and Kate went along with the charade to keep the show going and to keep that money pouring in. And the rest of this part, this section about Hawaii, is Hoffman, I think, trying to make some accusations about Steve Neild. He writes, oddly enough, Kate took many pictures of someone else who was on that special family vacation and whom you probably didn't know was there. If you guessed that that someone else was Steve Neild, you would be correct. Kate took lots of pictures of Steve, her bodyguard, and rumored love interest, either alone or playing with her kids. That would be unheard of. Now this is what, okay, and Hoffman, he just goes on to really question this. He's like, in a happy marriage, why would you be taking a bunch of pictures of Steve Neild playing with your kids? Hoffman writes, in a journal entry on April 24th, 2007, so pretty early on, Kate spoke of having a discussion with Jon in the garage because there's important marriage issues that need to be cleared up, and it sounded like something serious was going on in the marriage even all the way back then. This is a really long section. And it's basically Hoffman just like lamenting and going over the fact that Jon and Kate were living a sham, and they were doing it for these trips, for the money, for the freebies, lots of freebies in Hawaii. We're talking about hotel, meals, all of that, but lots of experiences like tours for the adults and the kids. Lots of photo ops that happened that they got money from as well. And Hoffman clearly sees this as a major injustice. They were lying to all of us, and they made a lot of money off of it, is the bottom line. Okay, we're gonna skip some of the book here at this point because they're just a lot of very small stories where Hoffman is being extremely nitpicky about Kate Gosselin as a mom. He's already proven to us like she wasn't a very good mom. So here's like a section called Sick, and it's all about journal entries in which Kate is talking about the little kids having pneumonia and essentially like that she's annoyed. It's like causing her issues. She needs to film and it's taking too long to get over this, and she's so sick of it, right? There's a lot of stuff like that he talks about in the book. She also laments about like she's very mad at the kids for whatever reason. She's angry about someone pooping on the floor again. This just goes on and on in the book. There are so many instances. He should have grouped them all together, right? Organization could have been a little bit better. But there's just repeated stories about Kate not being very nice. We get it. Here comes a big one. All right, this is a big chapter. It is the alleged lie that goes like this. My children were not expelled from school. Hoffman's going to tell us all about the background of who was expelled from school and why, and what was going on with Kate's lies and manipulations about it. All right, we're going to take a break here, and hopefully I will get the next video out either later tonight or tomorrow morning. Thank you so much for joining me down this rabbit hole. Please join me next time. I want to talk to you about this whole school debacle. Hope to see you again soon.